Israel's military has ordered Palestinians to evacuate from parts of northern Gaza, warning of intense and imminent action. Posting in Arabic on X, a spokesperson for the IDF said the military would operate with intense force in Jabaliya and Gaza City and said people should evacuate south to Al-Mawasi for their own safety. The IDF says it is aiming to destroy terrorist organizations. The new evacuation order follows intense airstrikes this weekend, with a DPA news agency reporting that Israeli strikes have killed at least 56 people across Gaza since early Saturday. They are citing local medical workers and the civil defense force. There are reports that children are amongst the dead.
A mother holds her daughter for the last time. Tala was killed in an Israeli airstrike in the southern city of Khan Yunis. The grief is overwhelming as loved ones say their last goodbyes. 5 other people, 3 children and their parents, the entire Abu Taima family were killed in the same strike. What did these children do to them? What is their fault? Only God is my savior. What did these children do to them? What is their fault? They were sleeping in the tents. In the north of the Gaza Strip, health officials said an Israeli strike on a school sheltering displaced families left several casualties.
We were sitting having lunch as a family with our children, and then out of nowhere, we were being bombed. People were killed and wounded, women and children. The women weren't Hamas, the children weren't Hamas. We're not Hamas. It's just civilians who are being killed, no exception. It's random. They talk about human rights, but what human rights?
Israel insists it does not target civilians. The residents of Gaza are exhausted from being displaced and Israel's blockade. Israel says it will only end the war once Hamas is disarmed and exiled, something the militant group has rejected. Now, US President Donald Trump is suggesting that a deal is imminent.
Often asked, and I think it's close. I just spoke with some of the people involved. It's a terrible situation. We think within the next week we're going to get a ceasefire.
It's something many in Gaza are hoping will finally bring an end to the 21-month-long war and the unbearable toll on civilians in the Palestinian territory.
All right, for more on this, let's bring in Shaina Low. She is a spokesperson with the Norwegian Refugee Council. Hello, Shaina. So the Israeli military has ordered evacuations in parts of northern Gaza, telling people to head to Al-Mawasi in the south. But is that route even safe?
Well, there is no safe place in Gaza after more than 20 months of bombardment and hostilities. To expect a population that is starved, exhausted, and has already been displaced multiple times to pick up what little they have left and make a journey that is kilometers long, it's just not possible. It's not feasible. There's little there's little transportation available in Gaza now, as there's a fuel crisis. So people who are elderly, who are disabled, who have small children will struggle to make any journey of any length.
Right. As you say, the south is not safe because the Israeli military has been striking targets in southern Gaza at the weekend, killing dozens. What's the situation there really on the ground?
The situation there is much the same as we find in northern Gaza, where we have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people who have been displaced multiple times, lack of services available for them, no food available on the market, very limited humanitarian aid coming in through the UN and other established channels, hospitals that are overwhelmed, taking care and treating the injured and sick. The conditions there are just simply unimaginable.
Right. Let's talk about the US-backed aid distribution in Gaza, which the UN has labeled a killing field. Is your organization able to provide help on the ground at all at the moment?
Well, first of all, we certainly aren't cooperating with the GHF at those distribution sites. We've said since these sites were first proposed, since the scheme was first floated with the humanitarian sector, that these sites were not principled, that they were going to put civilians at risk, and they weren't going to be able to provide meaningful aid. We are extremely limited due to the fact that we have not gotten in any supplies since the end of February. And so our stocks have been depleted. We continue to provide water trucking and other services as much as we can, often through remote measures, because it's so unsafe for our staff to be out on the ground meeting with the communities that we serve. The biggest tragedy of all of this is that not only does the Norwegian Refugee Council, but other humanitarian agencies and the UN have thousands of truckloads of aid just waiting to enter Gaza if only Israel would open those crossings and allow us access and the ability to do our jobs.
Right. So, Shaina, what really do you need now to address the needs of the children and others in need?
Well, first and foremost, we need a ceasefire. We need hostilities to end. We need the bombardments to stop. We need the killing to stop. But even if that does not happen, what we need is access. We need to be able to get our aid into Gaza. We need to have access to that aid, and we need to be able to bring it to people wherever they are throughout the Gaza Strip. During the ceasefire, there were 400 distribution points for aid. We know that we have the ability to scale up and serve people's needs and start meaningfully addressing this humanitarian catastrophe.
Right. Shaina Low with the Norwegian Refugee Council. Thank you very much.
Thank you.